Hello, everyone, and welcome to Build. Our next group needs pretty much no introduction, but I'll give it a shot. Kiss is here. They're members of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. We've got a farewell tour launching. That is the end of the road tour. And we're going to talk to them about all that. But first, we've got a really cool montage to watch. Check it out.
On tour in 2019, Kiss on their final tour ever. Go to kissonline.com for more info. History will be made.
That's a hard act to follow, but we'll try.
Tom Morello.
Tom Morello.
Doesn't get better than that.
What is it like for you guys to listen to that back? Because I remember watching the ceremony when he was even just going on, feeling like very pumped up. Did you know in advance? Is it humbling or is it overwhelming in any way?
It was exhilarating because Tom has been a fan for so long and he's such a force in music. So to have him revel in everything Kiss and to cite us as not only an influence to him, but to all these other bands was a surprise. And you know, here we are 4.5 decades later going out on the end of the road tour, which is amazing. It's a chance for us to go out and one more time relive those times with people around the world to celebrate and do the greatest show we've ever done. Everything that you see on those screens is kid stuff compared to what we're doing this time. That was the warm-up act. So we're going out this time with something that really encapsulates everything we've done. We're putting the cap on it and then blowing the cap off.
So you've been warming up for 45 years.
That's right.
This is it.
We're ready.
Good.
Now we're ready.
I think it's, at the heart of what he was saying is that he never really would have become a rock star had it not been for you guys. When you think about those bands that you probably listen to or artists like that, what about that surprises you the most? Is there anybody over the years who has come to you and said, you're the reason I picked up a guitar, you're the reason I wrote a song, that really sort of shocked you?
I think the interesting thing is rock bands play music. Phenomenons impact society. And by that, it means that you influence people beyond what you expect. Sure, there are people who have been influenced and become rock musicians. There are people who have become doctors. I don't understand the connection, but I think that at the end of the day, we are about self-empowerment. We're about believing that anything is possible with hard work. And I think people can look at us and go, well, if these knuckleheads can do it, I can do it.
I think the other thing that was so overwhelming or maybe heartening for me when I was watching that ceremony is how many people in the stands were wearing Kiss makeup. We don't see that often, certainly at that ceremony. Was that making it a little bit sweeter in a way, or is there a unique bond between Kiss and their fans that you think maybe deserve to be on display that night?
Well, from the very outset, we've been delusional.
Speak for yourself.
When you think about it, we were 4 knuckleheads off the streets of New York, not far from here. We put the band together at 10 East 23rd Street, and we had this bizarre notion, because we're always disappointed by the bands we saw on stage. They sounded great. You'd see them live, and they're looking down at their shoes, or they're wearing tie-dye shirts and turning their backs to you. It's like, hey, you're doing me a favor? I gave you money. Give me something. So we decided to become the band we never saw on stage. No rules. Don't look over your shoulder to see who else is running the race. Put your nose to the wind and to thine own self be true. Be bombast, spectacle, no rules. And at the end of the day, if you go down gloriously. If you're going to go to Mount Olympus, be a god. You're looking at 4 gods. Humbleness be damned. Either you deliver the goods and you got something to say or get off the stage. So for 45 years, and boy do I look good, for 45 years we have a self-mandated idea and ideal to put together the best show for the most important people in our lives, the fans, which is why to this day and on the very last show we hope we will live up to, you wanted the best, you got the best. The hottest band on planet Earth, Kiss.
I love that, yeah. I think there's a lot of people in this room who agree with you. Let's talk about this tour a little bit. When did you guys really all get together and say maybe it's time to figure out a way to package this and tie the strings loose and sort of say goodbye?
I think we reached a point where it seemed the ideal time, not because it's a bad time. Most bands go through farewell tours because they hate each other or they stink. And we're at the top of our game. The last couple of tours, we played about 6 months ago to 40, 50, 60,000 people in Spain and Portugal. The band's never been better, but we also realized that we can only be this good for so long. If we were out on stage in T-shirts, if we were out on stage dressed like this, we could play into our 90s. But we're carrying 40 pounds of gear. We try to make it look effortless. It's hard work, but we love what we're doing. And we don't really feel we should be out there a day longer. So rather than be a band that does a tour and then after the tour kind of says, nah, we won't go out this year, we won't go out that, and we fade away, Kiss doesn't know how to fade away. We need to go away and explode. So this is going to be a supernova. This is going to be the biggest show we've ever done. And it's more than a concert. It's really a night for people to relive with us everything we've been through. I think what makes for that incredible tie between us and the fans is that it's two-way. By becoming the band we never saw, we treat the audience like we were never treated. So there's a connection to the audience that is everything. It's not a obligation to treat them well. It's a privilege.
That's so nice to hear. I'm curious, you mentioned the physical toll of these shows and what you guys kind of go through every night. Is the prep work different at this point?
Well, you got to stop for a second because Paul and I will suck up the oxygen. But think about this.
That's why I'll say something then.
Yeah.
Good idea.
Go.
Thank you. You know, the reason I know this tour is going to be bigger and badder than we've done a lot of great tours, but this one's going to be exceptional because we've already been spending months of time rehearsing, working on the show. We just spent an afternoon last week at the Forum in LA. We just rented it out just for us to see our pyro and see what it's going to look like. We needed a place that big to check it out. So it's going to be over the top, but we have been spending a lot of time and rehearsing and getting everything ready on a level that we haven't ever done before.
This is the band that's played to millions of people. Tommy, you're the new guy. How long have you been in the band?
I've been in the band. I'm the new guy. I've been in the band 17 years.
So this is a celebration of everything Kiss. This is a celebration of the history of the band, not any individual lineup, but at the same time, it would be crazy for us to be so short-sighted to not want to involve other members in the band. So hopefully there will be appearances by other people who have been in this band. If they weren't there, it's not because we don't want them there. So this really is an all-inclusive celebration. There's nothing bittersweet about it. It's only sweet. It's awesome what we've done. It's awesome what you've allowed us to do. And we're going to go out making everybody proud.
I just want to say that people often misunderstand who and what we are, and that's okay. That's all fair. Privately, we have the best time in the world. I'm telling you. It's the best party you could ever want to go to. This party's existed for 45 years. Imagine being able to wear more makeup and higher heels even than your mommy. Imagine getting up on stage. I mean, I get verklempt. I look across the stage.
And he sees me?
It's in New York. That's right. I see
And me
the
too.
amazing Paul Stanley. I see a guy just bashing the drums, and all the fireworks, by the way, are right over his head. He's going to wear a hazmat suit. And I'm the luckiest guy in the world. I get to be in Kiss, the hottest band on earth. There's nothing like that. We get along great. And for anybody who thinks that this is not the last tour, there are people who believe the earth is flat. That's okay. The flat earthers. Believe what you want to believe. We want to go out on top. To those of you who are surfers, why would you settle for just a regular wave when you can get on a tsunami? Once you've been up there, go out in glory.
And break your neck.
And then you'll have no choice but to go out, I guess.
Then you'll go out.
Eric's in the middle of all of this. Eric's singing his butt off. I can't say the ASS word. It's now the death of fun. But he's in the middle of all of it, singing, bashing away. But, you know, all the pyro that you see, it's right over his head.
Yeah, what is it? I mean,
Thanks for that, Gene.
is there some worrisome there? Are you prepared?
I've got some scars to prove it. Oh, yeah, I've been burned a few times, and then you hear me like MFing a few people on the crew for that. Yeah. But, no, it just goes with the territory. It's almost like we put on our garb, if you will, and it's like we get ready for battle, and it is like it's somewhat like a battlefield on stage, especially for me. Like Gene said, I've got all the pyro right around me, and I received the brunt of it. The fans I look at fans that are 50, 100 yards out into the crowd. They're like jumping on an explosion. It's like right next to me.
Yeah, you feel the heat. Eric's going to have hot dogs and marshmallows.
It's amazing your hair has lasted this long. It could have just gone up in flames decades ago.
Oh yeah.
I'm curious, when you guys think about, you've rolled out the first round of dates. People are obviously quite excited to hear about those. How long is this tour going to go?
Well, it's funny because whenever we talk about it, some people chuckle. You know, the skeptics chuckle because we're talking about anywhere from 2 to 3 years. And people go, oh, yeah, you know, that's some farewell tour. But what you have to remember is that when we come to your town, it's over. Right. We may play Milan in 2 years, but the night that we play any city, that's the goodbye. That's the farewell. So the tour is going to go on for between 2 and 3 years because it's a big world. And over 45 years, we've played a lot of places. And we want to visit them one more time and spend that evening with those people.
I have to imagine that designing the set list is uniquely hard when you consider that you're not going to see these people again. Maybe, Eric, you can talk about how you guys are batting between songs.
He keeps hitting me.
Yeah, who gets the final
I'm like a
vote?
puppet. He can't put his hand up my back tonight.
Oh, I can.
Oh,
I
you can.
can.
You wish. Well, actually, you know, Kiss has a long storied career, so we're going to try to do our best to represent all the generations and all the eras of Kiss because we realize that one person's time they discovered Kiss might have been in the 90s or the 80s, 70s, whatever. For me, it was obviously from the inception of the band. So, you know, you want to try to represent that the best you can, but then there's the staples, as, you know, a lot of people don't like to hear, but you've got to play those standard songs because those are the classics that have been associated with the band throughout its history. And those are undeniable. And they're not just songs that are undeniable, they're concert pieces that are undeniable. There's
Also snapshots of people's lives.
Right, that's what, exactly, you know.
It's funny because when we talk about the set list, the thing that this show gives us the opportunity to do is more. And it doesn't mean throwing in some song that nobody knows. The fact of the matter is when somebody says, why don't you play a song that's obscure? Obscure songs are obscure because they're not as good. So what do we drop? Black Diamond, Rock and Roll All Night, Shout It Out Loud, Love Gun, Detroit Rock City, Firehouse, God of Thunder, the list goes on. So it's exciting for us because this just means we can play more. On most tours in the last decade, we've probably done 16 songs. On this one, we'll do at least 20. So we're expanding that. And the amount of pyro and the special effects we're using on this tour is really just insane. We really wrote the book on this, and I'm proud to say it. If you see a rap star show, rock star show, country show, they all have Kiss DNA in them. Everybody does a Kiss show at this point, and thankfully so, because the audience is the ones that get the benefit of it. However, you can do a Kiss show, but you can't be Kiss, and we're going to take it this time to a whole new level. So it really is, it's Armageddon in more senses than you might think.
I wanted to bring that up, actually, that you guys did sort of develop this entirely new paradigm for how people tour and present music live. It's like what you said, if you go to a country show at this point, there's fireworks. If you go to an indie rock show, you hear all these things.
Or if you go to wrestling shows.
Or if you go to wrestling shows, of course. I'm curious, do you want that to be like the impact that people say, like Kiss taught people how to do a live tour and how to present stuff?
I think our legacy goes so far beyond that because, as I was saying earlier, it's really about a lifestyle and an attitude towards winning, towards victory. This is our victory lap. But for a lot of people, it's the idea that you can do and that instead of living by why, you live by why not. So, it's important. What we've done is we became the band we never saw. And I think that we upped the ante in terms of what people in an audience should expect. It was a wake-up call because we had been disappointed so often. When I would go to see bands around the time of Hendrix or Led Zeppelin, there were a lot of bands at that time who either sounded great and looked horrible or looked great and sounded horrible. We wanted to be the band we never saw. In essence, we came out of the audience and claimed the stage. And that's our connection to our audience, is that sense of responsibility that we have to live up to what we didn't see and what they deserve. So I think, that's the legacy.
There is another part of your legacy that I deeply enjoy, and it's your work with veterans, and it's something that obviously your touring supports. What does it mean to you guys that so many service members have had amazing experiences with KISS?
Well, for me, it's a personal thing.
Great.
My father was a retired brigadier general in the Army, and he was a World War II era, really a war hero. His platoon that he led as a lieutenant, second lieutenant, they discovered and liberated a Nazi death camp in Austria. So something I've lived with and been a part of my life for my entire life. And so veteran support and these types of things that we do is really important to me, and that comes from the heart, certainly, to begin with.
The military is what makes this country great. Politicians come and go. Over centuries, the people who have protected us and given us freedom are the people who have been willing to sacrifice their freedom. We sometimes confuse political views with our military, and we never should. It's the military that gives us the opportunity to have political views. Unfortunately, these people, when they return, whether they are physically or psychologically damaged, they don't get what they deserve. These people come back and should be welcomed as heroes and be given everything that they need. Not just them, their wives, husbands, and family, and we sell them short. So for us, whether it's giving $1 from every ticket to Wounded Warriors or other organizations, or bringing a color guard out on stage, or, oh my God, God forbid, we actually sometimes do the Pledge of Allegiance because it's cool. Patriotism is cool. Loving your country is cool. Regardless of whether you agree with everything that goes on, you have the opportunity to disagree with what's going on. And for us, we're proud supporters of the military and owe everything to them.
It sounds like you are planning to continue this work following this tour. Is that safe to say? It sounds like you guys are planning to continue this affiliation and this work following, we're looking 3 years down the line, but following touring.
Everybody should. Everybody out here has a responsibility. Sometimes people say, give until it hurts. Give until it feels good. Everybody knows what they're capable of giving, and that's what your obligation is. That's your responsibility. It's a privilege to support the military.
It looked like you were going to add something to it.
No, we always will. Yeah, I echo his point. Yep.
When you guys think about 2 years now, 3 years now, the final song that you play on tour is KISS. Have you guys started thinking about what song that might be? Is there one that feels like, how do we not end on this note?
How do you not end? You mean the very last song?
The very last song.
How do you not end with Rock and Roll All Night? We will have played that song probably without exception more than any other song we've ever been involved with. And you might say, aren't you sick and tired of hearing that? But I will tell you, the roar of the crowd, the smell of the grease paint, there ain't nothing like it. That's in the Funkin' Wagnalls book. When you hear everybody getting jazzed about that and you get off the stage, because that thing is like the fire in the belly, you're dog tired, you've just done a big show, and you get up on that stage, and when you see the joy on everybody's face, I will tell you, we've seen it all. And we've been around for generations, 40 years plus, but when you see a little 5-year-old kid in KISS makeup, on his dad's shoulders, who's wearing KISS makeup next to his father.
Who's wearing a dress.
We're badass kind of guys. Nothing affects us much, but that stuff, that'll put a lump in your throat. That you have to turn around for a second. It gets me. It's music, but it's generational, and it brings families together instead of separates them.
And we will play Rock and Roll All Night with all its glory and passion and accuracy. When we go out on stage, we don't rearrange songs because we're bored. There's nothing worse than people paying money to go see their favorite band, and the band is bored with a song, so they've rearranged it. You came to hear those songs the way they were originally recorded. That's what you deserve. If a band is bored with their songs, it's because the song's not good enough.
I was going to say, we've seen so many bands over the years who stop playing certain songs that people are sort of desperate to hear. That is clearly not in your DNA to ever do. Could you imagine giving up any of these hits? No.
Well, I think some bands become a little too much self-indulgent. I mean, I get it. You have to enjoy what you do as well, but I think sometimes they start thinking, well, I've heard some musicians say, well, I play for myself. If people like it, great. Almost like you're doing them a favor. It's like, no, you should play the music that the fans want to hear. That's why they came to see you.
Is there one song that you are always kind of surprised has survived as long as it has, that the fans are still clamoring for it?
You know, the one that always surprises me, no matter where we're playing, a lot of times we play festivals. Sometimes they're heavy metal festivals with heavy metal bands. And we'll come out at the end of the set, we'll do I Was Made for Loving You. And the place always goes berserk.
Like animals.
Even the metalheads, they're going insane. It just blows my mind.
Like the biblical locusts you've read about. And by the way, I get to be the big bad wolf and dog. Okay, let's do I Was Made for Loving You. Do, 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 do.
Yeah.
And guess what?
Crowd goes
There are
crazy.
50,000 people singing along with it, jumping up and down. And it doesn't matter what gets your rocks off. The fans get us off. This is our last thank you. I don't even know how to say the word. There should be more important words than thank you for making our lives possible, but truly from the heart, thank you.
It's very funny what Gene's saying is we would do these festivals. Sometimes we do these, what do they call, blood rock festivals? You know, festivals.
You're talking about Hellfest.
Hellfest.
And
Hellfest in France.
Yeah, and before
France.
we go out on stage, we're going, maybe we shouldn't do I Was Made for Loving You. You know, and you have an audience that's going, kill your mother, you know, and all this stuff. And then all of a sudden, these guys in biker jackets and tattoos on their eyeballs and pins going through their eyes are, doo, 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 doo. Right?
It is
and we
true,
just go,
and they're
wow.
jumping. You can see it on YouTube. They're jumping up and down like you know, the biblical call to arms. You're free from Egypt, and they go doo, doo, doo. It is unbelievable,
And it's cool.
It's cool.
That's that phenomenon.
By the way, we're headlining all these festivals, and sometimes the bands before us, you know, Cradle of Filth, Death Snot, and you know, all this other stuff. And by the way, we don't make fun of anybody. Good luck to them. We wish them all the best. We always try to give the fans the best, and we don't pretend to be who we're not. To thine own self be true. We know what is KISS. Run the race. Put your nose to the wind. Look straight ahead. Be who you are. Be true to yourself. Doesn't matter who's in the peanut gallery or who's behind us. And so sometimes at these big, heavy metal festivals, we're looking around going, boy, we're the odd. Well, we've always been the dark horse. Look at us. We wear makeup and stuff, and we don't care about fashion or style. Maybe that's a good wake-up call for everybody. Stop looking over your shoulder to see what everybody else is doing. Just be yourself.
Look in front of you. We're there.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's right.
That's actually a pretty good note to end on. Sadly, we are out of time. Thank you so much for being here. You guys, select tickets go on sale tomorrow. We've got a whole more rolling out, so thank you so much.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.